Hello, everyone. This is the wrestling show, the Highlander Wrestling Show. Hopefully, I'll do a whole lot better job than I did on my Christmas special. It was humorous. I guess people can look at it to be a comedy part where I mutter and ramble off. I was trying to do winging it and everything. But anyway, this is a new addition to the Highlander Wrestling Show. Be my last one before 2020, so this is the last one for 2019. But my video to this time is going to be about the Samoan wrestlers or Polynesian wrestlers of pro wrestling. I'm going to be talking about people like The Rock, talk about Umega, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, who is the son of Rikishi. Sonny, I don't even know how you say his name. Sika, I think it's or see Siaki. Anyway, you do. Try to do it better than me. So, Nia Jax, Roman Reigns, who is one of the Wild Samoans. That was his daddy, Alpha. Is the one of the original Wild Samoans. That's Roman Reigns' daddy. Then you got Roman Reigns. There's the Tonga kid. He was, I don't know how well he did. I mean, I remember him, but don't know that. I don't remember that much about Tonga kid. Then you got the one and only, everybody's favorite from the 80s, from the rock and wrestling cartoon, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Then you got Haku or Meg. Haku was a very tough individual. Most Samoans are. Then you got the guy. He was not the original barbarian, but they did have him tagged with the warlord, the barbarian. He was a Samoan, which took me a long time to actually realize that until recent years I found out. Uh, then you got Tuna Tonga, who is Haku's son, or I think that's how you say his name, Tuna Tonga. Then you got Conchero, I think it's how you say his name, who is Tonga Lucy, Haku's son. That's Haku. Oh, that was his son also. Then you got Tamina. She is like Nia Jax, come from a family of wrestling too, which all the Samoans are pretty much related. I think Samoa Joe may not be the one that's any blood relation. Not too sure about Umega. Umunga, I think it's, or some, excuse me, I think it's Umunga. But Tamina is the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Nia Jax and all them were all related, like to her and everything. Then you got Tuka Fale, Fale. I think it's how you pronounce that, Fale. Anyway, let's start off. Also, you got Samoa Joe, who is of course, Samoan wrestler from his name, Samoa Joe. Then we got first. We're gonna talk about the Rock's granddaddy, Chief Peter Maiva. I think it's how you say it. Maiva. That sounds about right. Don't remember that much about him. He died way before I started watching wrestling. He was, from what I understood, he was. I got one WWE Hall of Fame card of him that when they induct him to the Hall of Fame. He was like Alpha and Sika from the Wild Samoans. He was a very tough individual. From what I understood, I don't know how much truth there is behind it, but they say Rocky Johnson, or Soul Man Johnson, what they used to call him, because he sparred with boxers like Muhammad Ali and all them. They say Rocky Johnson was part Samoan himself. Don't know how much truth there is behind that, but that's what I've heard a few people say. But anyway, he married Chief Peter's daughter, which I don't think he particularly cared for Rocky Johnson when he married his daughter because of how he was. not very many people got along with Rocky Johnson. Like Tony Atlas, him and Tony Atlas looked like they were friends, but they really wasn't. But anyway, I'm getting to the rest of the parts. The Samoan wrestlers were the unique out of all the other pro wrestlers because for most of all, they was all related one way or the other. They all of them were pretty close as cousins and everything. But I want to talk about an event. You can watch it on TNT Tuesday Night Titans on the WWE Network. It was a program where Alpha and Sika were showing you how to cook Samoan style, which, they had the fish and everything. I've never seen nobody cook fish with the scales still on them. They gutted it out, and everything, and they put it in the pot with everything, and they was even trying to eat it raw, which, I'm pretty sure that's how them wild Samoans are. They were pretty tough into people because of, you had to be. They were, and anyway, when they was cooking it, they had to, of course, uh, Vince McMahon was talking Lord Alfred Hayes into trying the food, and of course, Lord Alfred Hayes being English and a gentleman, he that wasn't quite what he called food to him, which that's another story on with that all that with the British, but anyway, it was a pretty funny moment. Of course, the Captain Louis Albano managed them, and they were, I think, maybe 3-time WWF Tag Team Champions at the time. At the time when it was called Worldwide Wrestling Federation, they were WWF Tag Team Champions 3 times. That was some big guys. Let's see. Of course, you got The Rock. When he first showed up, I remember his debut. Um, he was pretty good. I mean, The Rock is one of the biggest names in the company. He's supposed to be the most electrified man in the business, which The Rock, he was good. The Rock had, some of his movies he's got out I like, but some of them I didn't. But The Rock, he had the catchy catchphrases. He could talk smack with everybody, trash talk with the best of them. The Rock was basically your typical Samoan wrestler, which is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong out there. He was good. He was, you could tell he was trained Samoan style wrestling. Of course, there's a lot of people don't realize this. There's a lot of difference in pro wrestling if you know what to look for, because not everybody there's wrestling, but all of it is wrestling, but there's different styles of wrestling. I've learned that through the years of watching it. But anyway, let's see. I want to talk about the Samoa Joe before I forget because I'm going to keep on until I forget about him. Samoa Joe, he's good. He's your typical Samoan style wrestler, like I say. They don't, none of them are really what you call technician or nothing like that. They were just good powerhouse, roughhousing wrestlers. Oh, Samoa Joe, I was disappointed when they didn't let him beat Brock Lesnar, which, in my opinion, he could beat Brock Lesnar. Samoa Joe's a tough individual in that ring. I mean, he's good. Oh, let's see. Oh, let me think. Oh yeah, Haku. Haku is another one, or Meg, whatever you want to call him, or King Haku. I remember when he was the King of the Ring. He won the King of the Ring, became King Haku. He they say I don't know how much truth there is behind this because I mean, come on now. Uh, they say that Andre the Giant was afraid of Haku, which is I don't believe that not one bit because I don't care how hard you can kick or how big of a temperament you got or how strong you are. When you messing with a man that's 7'5" and 500 something pounds, and there's not a man alive that can go toe to toe with him in strength or anything. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing with Andre. But anyway, but Haku, I liked Haku until the point he was Samoa Joe was really one of my favorites, and Alpha and all them was among my favorite Samoan wrestlers. But anyway, Haku, they didn't really do a whole lot with him. I mean, they did less with him in WCW. WWF did all right with him to the beginning, but after they tag teamed him with Andre, it wasn't no good no more. I mean, Haku that wasn't Haku. But now he did have a partner at one time, the Tonga Kid. Don't remember that much about Tonga Kid. I mean, I remember the name and everything, but I don't have a whole lot of nothing comes to mind specifically about him. Watching him and everything. So he's kind of he belongs in there with the Hall of Fame and the legends and everything, but I don't know that much. I don't remember that much about him in the ring. Uh, and Just like this other guy who is Haku's got two sons. Uh, One of them, oh, excuse me. One of them is Tuna Tonga, I think is how you say his name, which is, I don't know if he's the oldest son or the youngest son of Haku. And then I'm having to write their names down so I can at least try to spell them. Kumchura, Camacho, I think it might be Camacho, is the other son of Haku's. Don't know that much about them. I don't remember them being in the WWE or anything like that. They might be a part of the small circuit wrestling. They might have been in WWE, but I don't remember them being in WWE. And of course, you got Nia Jax, she's one of my favorite female. I liked her better than I did Tamina in the ring as far as the female Samoan wrestlers. She's a very kind and a sweetheart on off stage and behind scenes and everything. But I believe she can pretty much hold her own if need be. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with her. Just like Tamina, I think she's a tough individual. Most of them, like I said, most of them Samoans or all of them Samoans, one way or another, they're tough people. You wouldn't want to just tie in with them. As a matter of fact, I've heard them say about how Haku's been arrested before, where they've had to pepper spray him and everything and bring him in. They said he tried to break the handcuffs when the policeman put them on him and everything, and they had to call his wife down there because they said that's the only person in the world that claimed that could calm him down. The only person. Of course, from what I understood, from what they say, she's a very, very tough individual. She didn't take no junk off of him. When she told him to hush, he better hush. Um, but yeah, just like now I was going back to Superfly Jimmy Snuka. One of the biggest things that made Jimmy Superfly Snuka a big name, his biggest moment, and what started it all with him is when he climbed up on the top of the 15-foot steel cage and flew across the ring and landed on top of Dom the Magnificent Morocco, which was that was the biggest moment, which for everybody else anyway. Which, in my opinion, Jimmy Superfly Snuka had a lot of great moments. He even went up against Bob Backlund. I think it was I want to say it was 1982. It might have been 81, but I want to say 1982. Of course, it was in the steel cage match. I don't know. I didn't quite understood. You could see that on WWE Network or on YouTube or whatever. I don't know if Jimmy Superfly Snuka was considered a heel at the time, or he was a good guy and Bob Backlund was a good guy, but everybody was cheering for Bob Backlund for some odd reason, which I'll be doing a video more about Bob Backlund one day, where I just not a big Bob Backlund fan. I mean, he's all right. I give him credit. He belongs in the Hall of Fame, but he's not great. I would have never made him world champion. But Jimmy Superfly Snuka, one of his other big moments, in my opinion, was he had the first match at WrestleMania with The Undertaker when he debuted at WrestleMania. Excuse me. Of course, he lost the match. But Jimmy Superfly Snuka, I didn't agree with what has happened to him. You know, he died before they did the trial on him and everything about the murder of his girlfriend and everything, which I didn't approve of that at all. But besides that, as far as not putting him in the Hall of Fame or nothing like that, they should go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame. But still, you know, even though that was a part of his life, I wouldn't have agreed or uphold or anything like that what he did or anything. I mean, that was wrong. But still, you know, he should still be in the Hall of Fame because yes, he was part of wrestling history. He was, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, he's the first high flyer in the business. Um, but well, let's go on to the Wild Samoans themselves when they was tag team champions. One of the things I always remembered about the Wild Samoans it was their hair. It was it was just wild. I mean, of course, that's why they call them Wild Samoans. I got a granddaughter that's got hair just like that. It's wild. That's what I always call her, the little Wild Samoan, because that's what she looks like when she wakes up in the morning. Hair sticking out everywhere, looking like Alpha and Sika. Um, but you know, for a long time there, I remember Captain Louis Albano. I thought he was actually part Wild Samoan, but he ain't. He's full-blooded Italian because he always managed the Wild Samoans. Because you can see him with the Wild Samoans on the movie Body Slam, which has got Roddy Piper starring him. A great movie. If anybody out there wants to see that movie, look it up. The movie's called Body Slam. Great movie. Very good movie. It's matter of fact, it's got a lot of great wrestlers in it. I want to say I remember it's got Bruno Sammartino made a short part in the movie. I think Ric Flair at once. I think he showed up on there too. But it's a good movie. If you know, it's a very good movie. I got it on DVDs, so I mean, it's like I said, it's a it's a good Rowdy Piper movie. But now, like I was saying before, let me think. I'm making sure I got everybody covered here, and I know I only had a few lists, you know, on here on the Samoan wrestlers. Well, it's okay. Let me go and boom. I almost did forget the Usos, who is Rakishi's sons. Rikishi now was a part of the Head Shrinkers. That's something else too. I almost forgot too. He was part of the Head Shrinkers. They wrestled the uh, Steiner brothers at WrestleMania 9, and I can't remember what the other one's name is now. I know Rikishi and them, but anyway, uh, they were. I believe they won the tag team titles too, the Head Shrinkers. But anyway, let me go on to the Usos. Jimmy and Jay Uso. I liked them before they did that whole thing about the state penitentiary, the Usos penitentiary, and all that. That was just dumb. I mean, come on now, you guys are Samoans. Y'all ain't supposed to be gangster. Y'all supposed to be Samoans, wild Samoans. Forget all that gangster stuff like Rikishi. I seen he dresses up and everything. I mean, these guys are supposed to be Samoans. I'm looking for them to wear the traditional Samoan suit outfits and everything. Act like a Samoan. Oh, I mean, that's what they're supposed to be. That's what they are, actually. But Jimmy and Jay Uso was very good tag team champions. They got in trouble a few times, which I didn't quite understand. And I think it was Jimmy, I believe, that's been arrested for public drunkenness or something, or driving under the influence or something like that. He's. I think I got Jimmy and Jay. I get them kind of mixed up. I know the faces. I just forget the names mixed up. Anyway, he's married to Naomi, and I don't know if they ever had any kids or not. You don't ever see Naomi on TV no more. I don't know if she's on that Total Divas or not anymore. I hadn't even really looked. Uh, But Jimmy and Jay Uso were very great tag team. They was like the Head Shrinkers and the Wild Samoans before that, you know, before the Head Shrinkers, the Wild Samoans. They were really good tag team. They were let me go ahead and put it like this. before I put up my own foot in my mouth. They were the better out of all the Samoan wrestlers. They are the most athletically, besides Jimmy Superfly Snuka. As far as all the others, them and Jimmy Superfly were the most agile and high flying wrestlers of them all. Well, let me before I forget, Yokozuna. I knew I was about to forget somebody. Yokozuna, which was Jimmy and Jay Uso's uncle. I believe that was their mother's brother. I believe that's right. But excuse me, everybody. Uh, he was, I heard him talking about when they were little, he would let them hold the World Wrestling Federation title belt and everything, how good he was, kind hearted. I've always heard that too. As a matter of fact, one of my good friends, he's a legend in pro wrestling. He was in WWF, WCW, all that. The Mountain Man. He went to Japan on a tour with Yokozuna, and they was eating at a Japanese restaurant. And they kept eating and kept eating and kept eating because I mean we're talking about both these. I mean the Mountain Man was over 400 pounds himself, and Yokozuna was 500. And the guy finally came up there where they was sitting at after they'd been in there eating and everything. He told them, "Yeah, y'all's got to go." Ran them out of the restaurant. That's bad now when you go to Japan. I mean, they're used to feeding sumo wrestlers, and I guess they wasn't prepared for that. For guys that big, like sumo wrestlers. But anyway, the Usos were a very great tag team, and I'm gonna go ahead and go on with Yokozuna. Yokozuna, for a long time, there I actually thought he was Japanese, but turned out years down the line, I found out he was actually Samoan. So that basically put a damper. I always thought he looked a little bit tan to be Japanese. I always thought that was a little bit. Of course, I ain't trying to sound mean or nothing. I'm just saying something just didn't ever click with him for him believing that he was Japanese, but he was actually Samoan. Uh, just like Umega, now that was an ugly individual right there. Umaga, excuse me, it's Umaga. I never really got into him. I mean, I liked it when Triple H whooped him. But I just never was that big of a fan of him. Now the Usos and Samoa Joe and Jimmy Superfly Snuka and the Headhunters and the Heads. Oh yeah, there was another team called the Headhunters. I think that was Yokozuna before he became Yokozuna. I think he was part of the Headhunters. I almost forgot about them. Excuse me. Like I said, I have, even though with notes, I'm still remembering these things. But now the Head Shrinkers, like the Head Shrinkers and the Wild Samoans themselves and the Headhunters and the Usos and Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Samoa Joe were always my favorite out of Samoan wrestlers. But I always thought, the Samoan wrestlers were always. I thought it was cool because it was a whole bunch of them. And it was all related. I don't know if Samoa Joe is related to them all or not. He might be distantly or something like that. But I always thought Samoa Joe was cool. He's one of the ones out there now that I still like as a Samoan wrestler. You don't see that many Samoan wrestlers no more. I don't even know whatever happened with the Usos. You don't see them on there no more. I guess they're still in trouble for whatever this was the last time they got in trouble for. But anyway, let me make sure here I'm getting all my ground covered here. But yeah, Samoan wrestlers. This was, they were a unique bunch. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I want to say the Head Shrinkers went to WCW for a little bit, and it was called the Islanders. I believe that was right. Oh, but they didn't last very long in WCW, which to me, any Samoan wrestler that went to WCW just did not fit in. I mean, come on. I mean, WWF or the McMahons have always had Samoan wrestlers, so therefore that's how Samoan wrestling began through the McMahons. They're the ones that brought in Samoan wrestlers. But anyway, let me think of. I know I'm forgetting something else too. Oh, I almost forgot about it. The Rock. He's got a new movie out. Jumanji. The second Jumanji. I wasn't too impressed with the Jumanji movies. I mean, I guess the last movie The Rock made that was halfway decent was Rampage. Um, that was really his last film, and it really wasn't all that great. The Tooth Fairy was pretty good that he made. The movie The Scorpion King was real good, and the Mummy Returns was real good that he was in. Walking Tall, he did all right in Walking Tall. But The Rock just never really was my big cup of tea. I mean, the Baywatch movie, they didn't need to try to remake a Baywatch movie. Um. Anyway, uh, let's go on back to his granddaddy, The Rock's granddaddy. Make sure I'm getting that facts right here. Is Chief Peter. He wrestled before when he was founded. He was wrestling for the New Zealand NWA New Zealand wrestling promotion when he was founded by, I think it was by Vince McMahon Sr. Uh, I know he wound up getting cancer. I believe it was in 1980. Yeah, it was in 1982. Marvey was he was put into the Hall of Fame, and his son-in-law Rocky Johnson, the one that inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and the Rock. Excuse me, Peter, Chief Peter. He was. When I seen the pictures of him, he was like Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I mean, he was, ripped. Of course, most of them Samoans are big in stature and all of that. I mean, Yokozuna was like over 500 pounds. That's what wound up killing him. Said he had to sleep sitting up because if he didn't, he'll quit breathing. And the Usos, his mother, used to come in there and check on him while he was sitting in the chair asleep because that's the only way he could go to sleep. Very sad, but I don't know really what it is about the Samoans. It's like when I guess it's the genetically, I guess is what you call it. They just put on weight. I mean, and it's hard for them to get rid of it. Uh, but yeah, it's sad for that to happen because a lot of them can't do nothing about it. So far, the Usos ain't had that problem yet. Now Rikishi did. I guess, yeah. Rikishi's still alive. But one thing I always remember about Rikishi during the Attitude Era is he did what they call the stinky face, which was, ooh, that was wrong. Rubbing the butt in the other one's face and everything. He'll pull up his tights like a G string and give him the stinky face. That's fighting right there. That's when you want to start fighting when somebody does that to you. But anyway, I guess that's pretty much all I can pretty much think about on my video now. Anyway, hopefully everybody enjoys this one a whole lot better than they did my Christmas special, which I know it was horrible. I was trying to wing it, just didn't work out too good. So everybody, I apologize for that. Hopefully this video is a whole lot more rewarding for everybody to watch. Anyway, I want to go ahead and shout out to Ultimo Gallows Wrestling Show, SWA Wrestling, Battle Zone Championship Wrestling, BILW Wrestling. Y'all to keep that in mind, especially Ultimo Gallows. Mike Magnum is a friend of mine that's on Facebook, or he did have videos on Facebook. Um, Shout out to him. Uh, so y'all go ahead, and I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful Merry Christmas, and I hope everybody continues until we all say Happy New Year's. And anyway, this has been my last show for 2019. So look forward to my new shows in 2020. I'll be done got some new stuff to put up and talk about and everything. I have enough time to gather more information, and what I'm going to do next, I'm going to try to do 10 times better than I did this year. So anyway, I appreciate it, and everybody have a until 2020. Everybody have a great Happy New Year's. Hope everybody's Christmas was wonderful, like I said. Y'all keep watching pro wrestling, and I'll talk to y'all later. See y'all.